What's up, dude?
Hey, Sadiq, how are you?
Hey, I'm here with Rick Crom or Richard James Crom. So you're actually like Rick James.
Yes. Sherrod Small reminds me. Rick James Crom, that's what he calls me every time he sees me. Rick James Crom.
Oh, is that what he does?
Yeah.
Rick is a legend.
I'm a legend.
I heard. That's what they say
Well,
around the corner
you.
over there. We're gonna see the corner that Rick works at, but
I don't work on corners. No.
you don't work on a corner, around the corner.
Around the corner.
My fault. English is my second language.
In my younger days, I worked on a corner, but not anymore.
You know, if I didn't have Walk with Sadiq, I could probably name the show English is my second language. That'd be a good title for a show. But I think I'm keeping Walk with Sadiq.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Yeah.
Because that's your name.
Yeah. Rick is actually my mentor, and he is a legendary stand-up comedian who has roots at the Comedy Cellar, and he's worked at the Cellar for how many years?
35 years this year.
35 years.
I mean, I've done other things. I've gone away and done other things,
but it also, I personally think Comedy Cellar is the top club in the world, and that's speaking from going to all the clubs around the world. And to have that and to be able to be in that entire scene for such a long time is very hard to do.
Well, when I first started working there, it wasn't. It was just this little dinky club. We were the new kid on the block. You know, there was the improv, the sketch rising star, and there was the comic strip, and Dangerfield, 1982. And there were little clubs. We were just another little club, and really started taking off.
Yeah, I saw
in the 90s, yeah.
your documentary, Oh Rick, which didn't get released, but
Not yet. They're working on it.
Okay. Well, let's take a walk.
All right.
This is Walk with Sadiq, Season 2, Episode 6. Rick Crom. Ready?
I'm ready. Here, shall I just hold on to you like a blind person?
Yeah, you're probably going to have to do that. You're probably going to lose your sight in like a decade or two.
It's all right.
So you're going to have to. Going back to the fact that Rick, I actually met Rick when I was in New York. I had moved to New York for stand-up. I moved from Chicago, which is where Rick is also originally from.
I am from Chicago.
I moved here, and then like a year later, I'm like, I need to do some classes. And this was still a period where, classes were frowned upon in like the open mic scene.
They're still frowned upon.
Yeah, they're frowned upon.
And
I was like, these are expensive ass classes, bro. This is like, and I'm like, okay, it's New York.
I think you got in before I raised the price.
Oh, really? And so it's like, I was like, shit, is he that worth it? And so I had to take that risk.
Was I?
Yeah, I think so. Well, you're on the show right now, so.
Oh, well.
And I called you my mentor. I don't just call anyone my mentor. I've only have 10 or 20 of them.
That's my life coach.
That's just Gandhi had like 30 mentors, man.
Yeah.
You think he learned how to fast on his own?
Well, they kept starving to death. He had to get new ones.
Yeah. So Rick, I took his class, and my goal was to get writing structure, and he was able to get structure underneath me because I was
so
really
wordy. You were so wordy.
I was, but also because
lots of essays.
Well, the thing is, Rick is like, hey, you don't write punchlines. I was like, what? This was 3 or 4 years into doing stand-up. Rick is telling me I don't write punchlines. And so I realized I tell punchlines on stage, I figure them out, but you have to write the punchlines, and you can get a lot more jokes into your set if you write it all out.
Well, you gotta know what you're going. A lot of people have
the best falafels here.
Right.
And
so they think
we're walking by
the
Cellar, by the way. This is where
Yeah.
I really do think this is just the fact that there's so many big names just hovering around this area.
A lot of them
and
grew up here. I mean, Chris Rock and came here when he was 19 years old.
Right.
19, 20 years old. And a lot of
Chappelle was here early too, right? Or,
Yeah, about 19 years old. And also guys like Ray Romano and they were in their early 20s. And David Tell, all the UCK, they were all in there. They were all in their early 20s, early to mid 20s.
and this is the main.
And this is
comedy
where
area,
they,
too.
right, they were developing here. I
Yeah.
mean, they were still working all over the city, but so consequently they still come back
Right.
and hang out.
Well, and I also think the room is legit a perfect room for stand-up, especially the one on McDougal Street, because it's low ceilings, tight space.
Low ceilings, that's
Everyone
the
has to
secret
sit
to
together.
comedy.
Oh my God.
Low
the
ceilings.
focus is on the stage. Just when you kill in there, if the audience is on the same page as the comics, and you put out your best material and best performance, that room just fucking roars.
Well, and also the low ceilings magnifies whatever feeling is in the room.
Right.
So now people come here and they expect that the comedians are going to kill or whatever, and they're in a good mood. But when we used to have audiences here who were skeptical, they'd wander in, what the hell is this little place here? If you were bombing on the stage, then you bombed twice as hard because the feeling was compressed.
Interesting.
So yeah, the low ceilings and the intimate spaces kind of compacts the feeling, whatever the feeling is in the room. But yeah.
Speaking of sets, what do you think?
Well, let me finish my other point.
Yeah,
You're talking
go
about
for
punchlines.
Yes.
You were saying that we didn't. I think you need to know where you're going for. A lot of people are satisfied with the context. Look, I'm being cool within the context. You're laughing at the attitude with which I'm talking about this subject,
Right.
which is it's valid, but you got to
and
know
it's
where the thing
needed,
ends.
but
You gotta know
it's
where the
needed
thing
for
ends.
misdirection and not
Right.
for the.
Well, it's like one of those sketches that go on forever with no conclusion to it, and it's frustrating. But
Man, there's no point to it.
right,
Yeah.
So that's what we work on. Something has to come to. It's got to build to a laugh line.
But I do agree. Like, I just think about if I had that structure, maybe, at the beginning of when I started.
Yeah.
English is my second language. I would be significantly better because I was going around thinking I'm going to create stand-up on stage, and really...
That's one way to do it. It just takes forever.
Oh, it takes significantly longer because you can do all the data crunching. Because at the end of the day, you're a lawyer on stage to me, right? I'm debating the audience while also making them laugh. I'm trying to persuade them to my belief system using arguments, and
Convince them that your premise is right, even
Yeah.
if it's absurd.
yeah. And so if I need to do that, I can't just. You go on stage for open mics. It's five minutes, 7 minutes maybe, and especially in New York where you pay all this money to just try out material. So why not put in the hours and hours you have off stage
Right.
to write and develop those jokes?
Yeah, you still got to take the jokes out for a spin, but I think it's so much easier to do it if you have at least if I used the metaphor of a roadmap. You know how it begins, you know how it ends. You
Right.
still got to get out there and work out how the joke feels,
Right.
how the whole performance feels, what point of view you're coming from, what the tonality is in your voice, all of that stuff that people just kind of ignore when they first start. But you still got to get it on its feet.
Right. And just to add, Rick is actually going to be. Are you performing in Sarah Silverman's musical in 2020, or are you writing it? What
Oh
are
no,
you?
I'm an actor in the show. I'm performing in it. I'm playing the doctor, the crazy doctor, who gets her hooked on Xanax. And no, I auditioned for it just like a regular old actor,
Okay.
and I got the part. I'm not involved in the
I mean,
writing
but you've
of it all.
known her for a while, though.
Oh, I've known
Yeah.
Sarah since she was also like 19 or 20 years old.
Right.
But this, I'm not quite sure if she called me in for it, or my agent submitted me for it. But anyway, I got a call from the agent that said, hey, they want to see you for this musical. And, I've been teaching for the longest time. The last Broadway show I did was 15 years ago.
Right.
This is an off-Broadway show. And it's a limited run, so I need to do this because, I don't know if I've told you this before, but when you're in that teaching mode, your students, especially the ones with very little creativity, they kind of suck the brain from your head. So I need to get back on the stage in a theatrical way, not a stand-up way, but a theatrical way, and play a character for a couple of months. That's going to be good for my mental health, I think.
Yeah, that'll be something different and you'll be refreshed. But I mean, that's something you said about what you want to do in retirement, I guess, is to open up a theater company.
With Dougal?
Oh, that's just one of the fantasies. I've got many fantasies about it.
Okay. Well, keep it PG fantasies, because we all know I'm not like that type of person.
Hi.
So you're exactly that kind of person, but no,
I'm using reverse psychology.
I wouldn't turn that into a business.
Yeah, but you said something like you'd play all the leading roles. I'm like, I would love to see
Oh God, yes.
Rick as Romeo.
Well,
And like have a
age appropriate, yes.
and, no, yeah. It would be just like a regular Romeo, like a. But you.
Yeah. I mean, I can do a campy version of it. Be like Homeo.
Yeah, Romeo. That's not bad. Look at that. He's already getting ideas.
Oh, I'm writing.
So Rick is a mentor, and one of the things that we discussed previously is about just mentorship. And I don't know if you remember when I called you my mentor, but I'm sure you were a little thrown off by it. Probably no.
Well, no, I was probably flattered by it.
Has anyone called you a mentor before?
Sure. I mean, usually they pronounce it daddy. But, no. Yeah, it's a role that I like playing. But no, I'm flattered by it.
So
there's something that I really enjoy about teaching and advising, and I don't know where it came from, but
when also you're good at it.
Well, yeah.
So when you say something and you say it in a specific way, the person is able to absorb that information and make changes or improvements based on your mentorship.
Yeah, and it's good. Well, thank you. And it's also, I think clarity is something that you don't get with a lot of teachers. I try to be as clear as possible because I'm a very linear thinker, and the way I learned as a kid was it had to be explained to me, in almost a visual context, and I'd have to learn the one thing before I could go on to the next concept.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I teach. Is try to be as clear as I can, and give people examples, and have them create examples of the thing I'm talking about.
Right. And
I don't know.
And I didn't really think. Yeah, and I didn't think much of mentorship before, and I think a lot of people don't realize this until they do. That having a mentor, especially in careers such as this, is very helpful. I mean, I grew up doing technology, so I would say I have a mentor, unspoken mentor, and my business partner, who has, he's 10 years older than me, but he was. Whoa! What happened there?
I don't know. Are we upside down now?
We're upside down now. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a little nauseous now. Are we on?
We're still on, but we're upside down.
Why is that?
I don't know, technical difficulties. I'm trying to...
We can reenact the Poseidon adventure.
This is the great part about... Yeah. Okay, I think we're good now.
Oh, you have to fix it in post.
No, we can't. No edits. So that's part of the show.
Oh, right. Technical difficulties are entertaining. That's okay. I was droning on anyway, as I usually do.
I'm kind of trying to move away from those videos of like people taking a video for like an hour and then condensing it down to 2 minutes and it's just cut up in different pieces.
Jump cuts.
Jump cuts, right? And it's like to make it funny, and I'm like, it's kind of dumbing us down. You need a little bit more. You need some feeling in this. So walkwithsadiq.com if you want feelings inside of your content. Visit my website. I have clips and stuff. Dude, do you feel shame when you do that? When you when you promote yourself? I feel shame all the time. Every time I give someone a business card, it's like, ugh.
Well, this is kind of like being a little bit of a prostitute, in the sense that especially today, because everything's social media. That's how you get yourself.
Except
out
prostitutes make much more money.
Much more money.
much
more money.
You know.
And
Okay. Okay.
and they don't have to even put up a loop.
No, they don't. Come on.
It's like a mix.
Do a couple of tricks in the night. You know what this boy pussy could get on the market? Yeah.
You mean back in the day?
Back. Well, I'm brown. It helps. If I go to Germany or something, like a Nordic country maybe, where they don't have as many like me.
Right. You've worked this whole I'm exotic thing.
Yeah. It's still in.
Yeah.
So, mentor. Going back to mentor, one last thing I want to say is that I realized I needed a mentor, especially in comedy. When I was reading philosophy, I was reading Plato and Socrates and Aristotle, and that's when it really clicked that all of these greats became that great because they got instructions from the greats, and so you can't think of it as I'm gonna do it all on my own. You have to understand there's all these different pieces that come. Like even you taking me to watch the Tom Papa show, right?
Yeah.
That's one night, right? One night, several hours. I got to see Gary Gulman, I got to see Colin Quinn, I got to see Papa, obviously, and then we got to all hang out and talk, and he gave some advice. And to him, I'm really just a comic, but just a comic. But to me, it's very helpful that I have that, like you're showing me your musical sheets and showing me how you draw up everything and how you practice. Like,
with the copy and
right.
And scoring it.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the written commercials and things.
And how you're gonna speak and how what the tone is gonna be and
by the voiceover phraseology where you break things into small sections.
Right.
The backing choices. Yeah,
but I wouldn't have known that.
Well, I either. But I think there's in terms of mentorship, I think you have to have role models, people that you want to when you're first starting anything. You have to ask yourself, who does this in a way that I would like to emulate? Not that you're going to steal from them or you're going to take their style, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start with a target. I want to be like that. I want to be like
Right.
George Carlin. I want to be like...
Right. Or this is a specific thing I like about George Carlin.
Yes.
That I'm like, I like the way he approaches this type of misdirection.
Yes. And to make a study of it, like, well, this person does that, this person does the other thing, until you eventually your own style. But you'll notice that there are universals. There are things that George Carlin did, that Lenny Bruce did,
right?
That Sarah Silverman does,
right?
The same structures and things like that, which are universal. It's like I always make the musical analogy. There are a million different kinds of music, but most of it is based on scales.
The same
do, re,
same
mi, fa,
notes
sol,
and
la,
same,
ti, do.
yeah.
And so you have to learn scales before you can play jazz.
Right.
And I get a lot of comedians who come to me and they're like, no, I don't want to learn about what a premise is. Or
it's because
what a context is. I want to get up there and riff, because ultimately anything which is good looks effortless.
Right. Because when we picture ourselves doing stand-up, I don't know what it is about stand-up. It's this elusive art form where when you're picturing stand-up, when you're like dreaming at home, I'm thinking of performing and keep going straight. I'm thinking about performing in. Actually, let's walk this way.
All right.
So, and this is New York City. We're like in the middle of everything. But what the fuck was I saying? This is where edits come in handy.
Yeah. we're talking about scales and music and structure. Any asshole thinks they can do it.
Right. Oh, there you go. Okay. So like we imagine in our heads that we're going to be performing at Madison Square Garden in no time, and we don't know what it takes from going from there from an open mic to Madison Square Garden. We just think that it just happens like that.
Yeah,
and
well, that's how they do it in the movies.
Right, and that's so many people think that. I'm fun. People say I'm funny, so I've thought of the, it's like I met a girl where she's like, oh yeah, I think I'm really funny. I could do stand up. Like, you're gonna do it? You should do it. I'll give you some places to go. And she's like, no, I'm too scared. I was like,
well, then you can't be a stand-up.
what are you? But I can't tell her that because then she's gonna go tell someone else that I was harassing her or something, and it's like, all right. Jesus Christ.
I think that the hard truth is listen, a lot of people get into this because they're unrealistic. They don't, and that's probably good. That's probably because if I knew the struggle it was going to take to stay,
right,
and I could do anything else, I would have done that.
Right. And it takes 10 years. I think there's definitely, and you can chime in on that, but I think it takes 10 years just to figure out. Like, it took me a decade to be able to speak and communicate this way and to be able to understand how to move forward in terms of stand-up. But
right. Well, I think there comes a point though where, once you've gone in with your eyes wide open and following your dreams, and maybe doing it for the wrong reasons. Maybe it's just I'm doing this for the applause, or I'm doing this for the
fame.
Thing.
Yeah.
Right. But we're at the point where you have to fall in love with the art form, realize it's an art form, and then dedicate yourself to doing the work, just knowing that the work itself is the reward. There's no guarantee you're going to get specials or career, but if you're good, you can work.
Right.
You can work, but at a certain point, you've got to be realistic with yourself and say, this is my craft, and this is what it takes to sustain it.
Right.
Am I willing to do that?
And that's with every art form.
Every art form. Yeah, sure.
Every art form.
And listen, there are worker bees, there are drones, and there are queens.
Right.
And
I'm a queen.
We're all queen
I'm
bees.
a queen.
This way? That way?
Just keep going straight.
Let's keep walking this
way.
Yeah. I mean, being special takes work.
Oh, dude, right?
I mean, the easiest thing in the world is to just get married, get a job, get married, have kids, and settle down. That's why most people do it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. When I was in LA, I did a show and I fucking destroyed. And you can tell, this was like a good show too, meaning a lot of the comics on the lineup are thought of as good comics in the LA scene, right?
Yeah.
So I just shatter up there, and I'm doing this shit that I do, which is race, religion, politics, and
with
sexuality.
Punchlines.
Which punchlines?
They don't have punchlines in LA.
But when I'm doing that, and then there's this girl after the show, she goes, oh my God, you're just a natural. And I was like, natural? You out of your fucking mind?
You know how much work it takes?
If I was a natural, I'd be doing arenas. Why the fuck would I be up here doing a show for no money for a girl that's telling me I'm a natural? Get out of here.
Yeah, well...
But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
much. A
much.
lot of people are just amazed by the fact that you can stand up in front of other people and talk. That is, that's almost magic to them. Just that, no matter if it's funny or not, because that's the greatest fear in the world is standing up in front of people and talking.
Yeah.
And they, of course, think that we're making this stuff up the top of our head, because that's the illusion we create.
Mm-hmm.
That we're just thinking of this as we're saying it. That is
but that's very
acting.
and also you got to perform the same type of material in front of all types of people, whether they're in America or in Canada, and you have to take into account all the cultural intricacies religious intricacies.
Yeah, well, you travel a lot more than most people do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but you'll find that the basic truth or the basic humanity and everything, you can make those adjustments.
Right. So what was your best set you've ever had?
Oh my God, the best set I've ever had. You're going to go through 42 years. I'm going to say one that
Keep talking.
One that pops out at me is when I was doing colleges. I worked at George Washington University. It was just a regular old college gig, but it was in the theater with 1,200 seats. And everything I said, they screamed at. And believe me, it wasn't that funny. That's one that pops out, the best set I've ever had. I had one recently. Last year, Michelle Sloanham's show that she does at Broadway, the Galeria show.
Was it upstairs room or downstairs room?
The downstairs room.
Okay.
It was packed. And it was one of those things where just everything worked so great, and you get in a real personal conversation with the audience. I think whenever you have 20 to 30 minutes, you can really just stop
get it.
rushing,
yeah,
and become yourself up there.
And be part of the performance.
Right. It's very frustrating to have a 5 or 10 minute set.
It's so frustrating.
And at the Comedy Cellar, people think, oh, you guys go up there and you do your special. No, spots are 10 minutes.
Right.
Maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They used to be. Can Grandpa tell a story? In the old days, when I'd be hosting the show would start at 9 and it went till 2, and it was all the spots were 20 minutes, and then the MC would do 5 minutes in between each act. So consequently, though, a lot of people could, if they were bombing for 20 minutes was not a good thing.
Right, exactly.
So then they started shortening the sets.
That's the thing, though. It's like trying to find places that let you do 20 minutes in New York is almost impossible.
Yeah,
but that's why I love going to other cities, because they'll give you more minutes. And if you're even semi-pro here, you look like a pro there. So you can,
That's the old effect. You can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. So worst set? Anything that stands out?
Anything that stands out?
Yeah.
In terms of what?
Worst set you've ever had?
Oh, worst set. Oh. I did a job at, are we going to keep going east or until we go into the water?
Let's keep going this way.
Worst set.
We're in New York City. Rick Crom on the show. Check out his special, or not his special. He's doing
a special?
Yeah, a special. He's doing a off-Broadway musical with Sarah Silverman
Called The Bedwetter.
The Bedwetter.
It starts in April.
April through June 2020.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Worst set?
I think it was at Colgate University. The fraternity had hired me because some guy saw me in the fraternity. But it was an outdoor frat show on the porch of the frat house. And they had anyway, you know how frat guys were. And back then you could drink at 18. So they had their sofas out on the lawn and all that stuff, and they were all.
He's talking about 1930s, guys.
This
after
was
Prohibition.
I'm going to say 87,
all right.
89, somewhere in there. And they decided they wanted to throw me into the pond that was just adjacent to the house.
You're kidding me.
They didn't do it, but they came up, they picked me up, and they were so it wasn't. I don't think it was my set. It was just like it was a bunch of drunk dudes, who wanted to fuck with a comedian.
Yeah.
And but that one stands out as my worst experience.
Okay. Actually, the worst set that I had was actually on one of the. Sorry about that. One of the weekends that I was doing your show. It was like a queer room that I did, and
Yeah,
I think I told you about this. Well,
Yes, tell me again.
But basically, I did your Saturday show.
Right.
So I did Rick's Saturday show at the Cellar, killed, and this was the McDougal Street room, so it was really, really good.
Yeah.
A couple of the girls in your class, they're like, hey, can we watch more of you, da-da-da. So I told them I had a show at this.
Do you notice that all of your stories
has a girl in it?
has a girl talking to you at the end of the show?
Girls talk to me at the end of the show. Beginning of the show, never. After I do my tall, dark, and handsome set, I have this set where I talk about how white guys are considered tall, dark, and handsome and not brown and black guys.
Yes.
And before the show, no girl looks at me. After the show, they come up and be like, hi. They like make deep eye contact.
Huh?
They say stuff like, well, I think you're tall, dark, and handsome. And I'm like, now? Where were you
Sure.
before when I was depressed?
But I still call that a win.
I still call it a win.
Because, they don't... You'll stay at a party the whole time, and people will not talk to you because they don't know that you're special. So
Right.
you got to go up and show them you're special.
Right.
I think it's all...
Well,
but anyway, you had this set at my
so I
show,
had
and
this-
then you went up to...
Then I went to this queer comedy show, and I don't do too many of those rooms, but I prepared. I'm technically queer, which means I like cis women and trans women. And so I do this room, I'm preparing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about how dating trans women is so much better than cis women. That's, and so...
You're going into the lion's den and complimenting the lion.
Exactly.
Thinking this is going to be great.
Exactly.
And they said
or at
what?
least decent.
Yeah.
And they started bullying me within the first 30 seconds of getting up there. They already... It's because, here's the thing. In straight rooms, I look queer. In queer rooms, I look straight. I look like the straightest person in that room, dude. Like, and so I go up there and they're like, ooh, cis of the male gender variety. And they were just there. And so as
You have
soon
to
as
say
just
to them, no, it's pronounced sissy. I'm a sissy man.
Yeah.
I'm a sissy gender man.
But yeah, so like it's like I went up there and then as soon as the word trans came out, it could have been anything. It could have been Trans-Pacific, transatlantic, transcontinental, and they would have, it didn't matter, as the trans is all they heard. And so they went at me right from the get-go.
Uh-huh.
And they were just saying stuff like I was objectifying trans women. Because I had a sexual, like I talked about what it feels like after sex with a cis woman versus trans women. And every queer comic up there went and talked about sexuality. They shat on straight people.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, I'm doing the same thing. I'm shitting on straight people, talking about how queers are better. It just like you said, it's like going into like an Adidas convention and talking about how great Adidas is. And they're like, boo! And I'm like, but Adidas is way better than Nike. Boo!
Well, because you got profiled.
I got profiled.
We always talk about how profiling is, it's so shallow and stuff, but everybody does it. It's just that you got profiled as not being woke.
Right.
You're not one of us, so therefore we have the right to be unaccepting.
Yeah, we have
of
to
you.
be right to be bullies, because that's what they were.
Right. So
and they bullied me online. And dude, I've done shows in 40 cities, 7 different countries. I've had some bad sets, and I've had some bad sets where I totally deserve the reaction from the audience.
Sure,
But
we all
that
have.
wasn't it. And so to be in an environment that is supposed to be so woke, they were pretty sleepy.
Well, they made an assumption, I think. They made an assumption that you were going to be one of those asshole cruise ship comedians who just like, nice tits, are they real?
Right, exactly. And so then I met Doug Stanhope that night.
Oh.
One of your classmates, I think it was that night, something like that, or Sunday night. But basically Sunday I did your show, again
Yeah.
at the Village Underground,
Right.
and I kill again, and you just basically, it's like I didn't know you knew what happened, but you already
you
knew
told
what
me.
happened. No, I didn't tell you actually.
didn't tell
read
me?
You read it on the post
Well,
online.
all right, so I read it.
So like we never even had a discussion about it, and I'm sure you were just like, oh, this happened to him last night. He hasn't said anything to me. But after the set, you're
Oh.
just basically you're like, yeah, you got back on. That's what you're supposed to fucking do.
Get back on the horse.
You know, and that felt good too, that you recognize that, because that is what I was doing. Is
Yeah, you
it's
have
like,
to. If you have a bad
fuck
set,
you, man.
got to get up there just as soon as you can, because well, that's the old saying. Your last show is the one that you remember, right? Your last show is your best show. Your best
Right.
show is your last show.
Right.
Or your worst show is your last show. I don't know.
Something like that.
It's something like that. But
But you got to get back up,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And that never goes away. You might know it on an intellectual level, even if you've been doing it 30 years. But the feelings are, I just got to get back up there.
and shows like that teach you a lot too. Like it made me question entire queer culture, because again, I'm queer, but I'm what they call straight acting, which doesn't make sense because I never took acting classes to
Well-
act like this. So, do they think that I'm doing the Meisner right now?
No, they're not thinking it through that.
You know,
That far.
and Rick, you know, you're technically queer too.
Well, right, as I say,
But doesn't that kind of feel weird when I say it out loud in that way? It's just like, yeah, I guess.
well, sure, because when I was first coming out or whatever, if you're talking about the mid '70s, whatever, the term, I understand what's going on. They're taking the word back, but the term queer was used as a pejorative. Hey,
Right.
you queer, you fag, you sissy, So when I hear it now, to this day, I'm like, I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like, and I understand. I've been explained to by many younger woke people
Right.
that it's a way of taking the term back and being empowering, and I understand that. There's still a little sting to it.
But it
to
also
me.
makes groupthink, okay? It becomes this thing where it's like, if you're not like this little part of the Venn diagram, then you are not us.
right,
And that's
isn't it-
that becomes with groups, right? It's just,
But isn't that ironic? In a culture that says, what it started off with, we just want to be accepted
Right.
like everyone else.
right. That should
Now
be the
it's like,
goal.
no. Not only we want you to accept us and fuck you.
Right.
Accept us and go away.
Accept us and do whatever we say and we think
Right.
is right in the way things work.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's a pendulum effect, and there's a little bit of revenge involved, and I understand that. Where it's like,
But the
okay,
people that are doing the revenge aren't the ones that should be. It's all like, I feel like a lot of the times people that have been through a lot of these things and have actually truly been through struggles, they're not the loudest ones.
oh, never. They're never the loudest.
They're not the
one.
loudest ones
No.
because they've been through it and they're
The
like,
guy who's been to war never
this is
talks
much
about
complex.
it.
Yeah, it's much more complex. You know, life is much more complex.
Right. Well, I had the same kind of problem when I first started doing openly gay comedy, because I didn't satisfy the stereotype that they had. And,
Right.
if you start doing gay stuff, they think, well, he's not flitting around up there. He doesn't have that voice, and it was very. And to this day, when I do it, I have to be. I get the sense, the people who don't like it, they think that I am making fun of gay people.
Right.
When I'm saying no.
Right.
I'm a gay people.
Right, exactly.
and this is my life that I've lived.
Right, and
And-
it's different than the thing that you're so used to.
Right.
And
So-
the stereotype, it's actually you have the stereotypes. You're perpetuating the stereotypes.
Well, at this point,
And not you as in Rick, as in the audience member or whoever
Oh, yeah.
feels that way.
sure it is. But the older you get, the more you live. I mean, it's not a function of age; it's just a matter of psychology. People like tribes; they like to be in their group, and they like anything that reinforces how they're feeling at the time. So, if the prevailing emotion of the time is we are going to assert our agenda to anybody who comes before us,
Right.
and if they're slightly out of how I see the world, they're not part of my group, and therefore evil.
Tribalism
Yeah.
seeping into, and so I like to talk about this, especially I wanted to bring it up with you because I think, you have a better understanding of that. And I'm able to, again, Rick is my mentor, so I'm able to kind of tell him anything, and he doesn't think I'm crazy because he already knows I'm crazy, but he doesn't think I'm crazy.
You're medium crazy. I've seen crazier than you, my friend.
I'm stable crazy.
You're stable crazy.
I'm like I make deliberate crazy actions that I've considered whether they're harmful or fruitful for me, and then I make those actions, and then they look crazy. Like, who wears these light up LED jackets? I made this. Check out my Instagram.
Well, that's it. I understand it as a desperate cry for attention, but some of us have that.
Yeah, I love attention desperately.
Desperately, I need it.
But again, I'm here with Rick. Oh, look at that.
Oh, I'm upside down again.
Okay, we'll just finish the show like this. Thanks
Are
for.
we
yeah, we're
upside
upside down. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Because I think I'm holding the gimbal in this specific way.
Well, this is a switch. I'm on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because I'm on top.
Thanks, Rick, for being on the show today with Walk with Sadiq.
Well, thanks for having me.
Again, catch him in 2020 from April through June for Sarah Silverman's off-Broadway musical called Bedwetter.
The Bedwetter, yes. And come see me at the Comedy Cellar.
Comedy Cellar. He has shows every couple of months for his class, and he also has general shows that he performs at the pro shows throughout the week. So look him up, and then it's comedycellarclasses.com. Do you want to plug that as well?
Yeah, just go to the Comedy Cellar website, hit classes, tells you all about it.
Yeah.
But what we do is we take it very seriously. We have a limited class size, 10 people and 2 showcases, and we work on writing and performance, and I tell you whatever I can, but
It's worth it.
See,
I still consult him. So, oh man, make me some money, bro. Get me a movie or something. Jesus. All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.